You lousy traveling Florida gardener, welcome back here to the garden. We back over here at the compost bin. We're gonna check on our compost. So the last time we inspected these compost bins, we pulled it out and we looked at it. We noticed that we wasn't getting enough water. We were getting some breakdown, we had some heat, we wasn't getting enough water, and we had tight compaction. So the two things that we come to terms with was that we needed to stir the bed more often and put more water to the bed. I have been putting more water to the bed. As you can see by this video, I'm a little late on the stirring. I've been busy. I ain't had time. So we're about the same time length we was last month. We're about a month. You're gonna see here behind me in a minute in this bin that this bin is dropped. That stuff is starting to break down and starting to fall. So we're gonna get in here and we're gonna break it down. We're gonna look at it. Unlike the last one, I have bought those thermometers. So we're gonna be able to take some temperatures as we work our way through this bed. We're gonna check it out. We're gonna see what we got. Something I forgot to mention in the last video that we did. When I do stir this, you'll be able to see here in a minute that this is dropped as the components are breaking down and the organic matter is happening. I do top it off. I can't see sitting that bin letting it less than a third. So on top of the first bin that we did in the very first video, you are seeing some other stuff that's being added in as it's compressing. Time is a space. My time is valuable. I don't have a lot of time, so I had to do it when I can, so I don't record that part. So keep that in mind when you're watching this video on the progress. Today makes 2 months that we've started this first bin of compost. Now in the last one, you didn't see it on there, but I did add some other stuff to make up for that compaction. So let's get in here and take this front off and see what we got, and let's tear this joker down, stick a thermometer in it, and let's see what them temperatures are. So as we're removing the front of this compost bin, I want you to consider also the factor that unlike when we first started it and it was a single compost bin, we now have a compost bin here. With the hollows in between, that means the two compost bins are touching. So I'm expecting to see the most heat right in this area. I don't know that that's so. If you remember the breakdown that we seen on the last one, I was not expecting to see any. We did see some. I'm expecting to see a dramatic amount now. This is 2 months into it. I need to be able to make compost in 3 to 4 months. If I don't see something that's about 5 times what it was on the last one, this is probably not going to work for me. So, but I'm expecting, because of the fact that we have more than one mass now touching, right in this area is where I'm expecting to see the most breakdown. Now let's remember as we remove the front from the bin that in the last video, you can still see the green in it as you went down through the layers and it was heavily compacted. Let's keep that in mind. See what it looks like today as a comparison. Well, I definitely don't see no green. And I don't see all the piss ants that we seen last time. So let's start raking that out of there and let's take some temperature readings as we go. Let's see what we're working with. Definitely looks wet. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull it out, but we're only gonna pull out about a 6 to 8 inch thick layer at a time, and we're gonna work our way down. As we go, we'll insert a thermometer a little bit, we'll take some temperature readings, see what we got, see if we got any heat. It may be already packed, it may have stopped breaking down, we may not even have any heat, but we're gonna see. This is the basic thermometer that I bought. I believe it's just an oven thermometer. Not really sure about that because it's got food on it. You can see right now it's on about 52 degrees. Let's go ahead and just stick it in and see what kind of reading we get. Now keep in mind that ain't but probably about 8-10 inches long. It's only jumped about 2 degrees. It's about 54 to 56 degrees. I can definitely see some breakdown even on the edges. Let's see if we got any heat. I'm really feeling nothing noticeable. Let's just cut them in there and see what we got. We're definitely getting breakdown now. And like I say, the heat may have quit because we're late stirring the pile. So, but it don't seem to be as packed as last time. Seems to be more broke up. Get you in here where you can see. Now if you'd watched the other video, you can tell we're getting more breakup here. We're not where we need to be by no means, but we are getting some breakdown in this product. I don't know how well that camera shows it, but and that's the reason why it sinks. So let's tear on down into that center core right there and see what kind of temperatures we can find, if any. Let's see if we feel any warmth yet. That's cold. That's actually cold. Oh, wait. Okay, there is some warmth. It's not where I thought it would be over here in the center. Let's stick our thermometer in there. You can see we got just above 50 degrees, between 50 and 52. Let me bring you over here where you can see what's going on. So we went from 52 roughly to between 75 and 77. That's a pretty good increase. But it was in the center of the pile and not over here. And the reason for that, I figured out, the leaves and compost didn't fall in between the pallets like I had expected. So let's dig on in now that we know it's in the center of the pile and see what kind of heats we can get. So now that we know our heat's in the center of the pile, we're gonna chop that out a little bit. But we can get right on over in the center and see what maybe our maximum temperature is in the bed. And if you'll notice, we're about halfway down in elevation in the bed where the temperature rise is too. So that pretty much just proves all the stuff on the internet right. Your most heat's gonna be in the center of your bed. We're back on about 52. And there we're on about 78. We're on about 78. So we can see the temperature difference, so we know that there's something still happening. So even though we're a little late on our rotation, you can see the compaction ain't as much, the breakdown's more. Now as we approach the center of this bed, if you'll remember, the last time that we dug this bed, it was full of ants. Everything I read on the internet said, if you had ants, you probably didn't have your moisture enough. And if you remember when we went through it, there were dry spots everywhere, which we have not seen now. Because I've been keeping it a lot wetter. And so far, I have not seen a single ant in the bed. So we've corrected the moisture problem. And even though I'm a little late stirring it, you'll remember in that last video, also that the layers were packed. If you can see here, it's not as bad. The breakdown is beginning. Our elephant ear leaves and our banana tree leaves, they're not even whole this time, where last time you could see chunks of them hanging down the wall as I was chopping. So we are getting our breakdown. As I stir it away from the bin, you can tell, if you'd watched that last one, there's not very many big pieces in there now, except for maybe them sago palms, but even they broke down dramatically. So this is pretty much what we got at about 2 months. I'll give you a couple close-ups before we're done right here. We'll continue to dig through the bed. Right now, we're still at about 78 degrees. And considering the fact that if you look at our thermometer and the height of the bed, we're about 2/3 away from the top of the pile. So about 1/3 from the bottom. If you remember, our probe's 8 to 9 inches long. So that means we're pretty close to the bottom right there. We're pretty much at what I expect to be our maximum heat. But we're gonna dig back through the depth of the bed and see what we get there. It's jumped up to about 80 now. Before we go any further, it's getting dark, so I may have to finish this somewhere else, and I want you to get a good view of this pile. Now to the common eye, that just looks like a pile of wet leaves, but to those of you that watch the other 3 videos, you'll remember the size of the banana leaves and the elephant ears that we put in there. All that's gone. Stalks remain, that's about it. So we know that there's breaking down happening. I mean, if you've been following these videos, you can see that. If you remember, just a month ago, a little less than a month ago, but close to a month, when we raked all that out, you still had pieces that were turning brown. You don't see those pieces now. And it's gonna be hard to see on that camera, but I can see that the soil taking shape in it. So we're gonna continue to pull this bed out, mix it, and then put it all right back. I'm gonna continue to monitor the temperature as we go. Right, I'm gonna rush this a little bit. It's getting dark on me. You can see we do have breakdown. So my goal is to be able to create a decent quality compost from about October to about January, mid-January. So that's November, December, January, 3 months. We're 2 months into it. With the breakdown that I see, even though it's great for no more effort than's been put in, if something don't dramatically happen in the next 2 months, this will not work for me. I will keep it, and I will keep it going because it's something on the side without a lot of work that does compost. But I plan on running a couple of greenhouses. So we may be doing another experiment here shortly, but I'm not going to cut it short yet. I did see a big change in the amount of what I had seen in the last month, but not as much as I had expected to see. And our conditions were right, pretty much. We had our waters right. You can see that this time. There's absolutely no ants. As I get to the bottom of the bed, I may see some worms. I don't know. I'm hoping to. But as I say, it's getting dark, but you could tell where we're at. Yes, this does work. If you're not in a hurry, we're gonna follow it through. But I really need to see in about 3 to 4 weeks when we transform this. It needs to break down about 4 times as much to be a main source for me. I will continue this type of composting, but I'll have to come up with something else for my main source to feed the greenhouses that I hope to erect. So I appreciate y'all following. Y'all keep tuning in. We'll be back here in about 3 to 4 weeks and we'll turn this again, put it back, see where we're at. If everything goes as planned, and it is 3 to 4 times better, we'll continue on this path just like we're doing, and we're going to continue that. If it doesn't, you're probably going to see a different compost experiment pop up. I'm going to try something different. I'll keep this rolling because it does work, but I need something that works a little quicker if we don't see the progress in the next inspection that we expect to see here. But if you're not in a hurry, I can already tell, you could use this just as is to supplement your plants in your yard. It would work. We've already got some breakdown. It's not where I'd like to see it, but it could work just like it is. I don't plan on that. I'll build a screen pan. I plan on screening it and using it as a finer substance. So in 2 months into the 3 months that I was hoping to make it, we're just not there. Maybe my expectations are a little high. I'm not sure. I'm gonna do a little research. We'll talk about it in the next one. We'll flip this again. So no reason for you to have to sit here and watch the rest of this. I'm just gonna shovel this back into this bin now. We've got it mixed up, everything's loose. I'm gonna put the front back on it. I'm gonna top it off probably with some fresh stuff. So remember that in the next update that we do on this, that top mulch ain't gonna be much broke down because it's new. It's been added there since. I'll probably just pull it out of one of these other bins. If you hadn't seen it, I got a video I just uploaded today on planting some onion bulbs in a hugelkultur inspired deer-proof garden bed, raised. Check that out. As always, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Y'all have a good afternoon.